Life can be fun and simple, regardless of the adversity, stress, or pain you may be in. The author you'll be meeting today has proven this is possible in her own life and has written a book that teaches you how to make your life less complicated. Her name is Amuwanu Ala Elise, but she is often called the Amazing Soul. And I like to just call her amazing because she is, and so is her book. The Amazing Soul was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, where expressing your feelings is frowned upon. So Amazing suppressed her anger, which morphed into rage and eventually turned into lower back excruciating pain. Amazing didn't realize the body keeps score of trauma until she joined the army and had to be medically separated after taking hordes of medication, undergoing several MRI scans, followed by 13 months of physical therapy because nothing worked. Amazing eventually decided to do something she had never tried before. Amazing trashed all medication in the garbage, canceled all her appointments, and decided instead to sit with her feelings and emotions for 1 week with no distractions. Allowing this experience led to loving all parts of herself unconditionally, realizing the pain was a gift to truly experience who she really is. The pain stopped completely, and Amazing is now sharing this story of how total self acceptance can change your life. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on Triumph Talks today.
Thank you for having me, Melanie. I appreciate
I've really been looking forward to it because I've spent a
it.
lot of time in your book and I need it. I am one of those persons that is driven by my exterior a lot more than I even realize, and I came to realize that as I read your book. So I'm really excited for this discussion. But
Yay.
let's begin with the first question that I ask the authors, and that is, what inspired you to write this book?
Hmm. That's a great question. Life experiences. I was forced to go within myself when I started to encounter pain that nothing externally could fix. And once I started to realize that, I was like, I had no choice than to go within myself and embrace my monsters. And once I sat with my monsters that I was running away from for about 30 something years, and I was able to accept them and drop the judgment, the pain just stopped. Pain of over 30 years stopped that I was running away from. I mean, I did everything that you could think of under the sun to fix this pain. I mean, from doctor's appointments to MRI scans to physical therapy, just over and over and over repeating the same cycle. And I was just like, okay, nothing is working. I have to do something else. But I knew the thing that I had to do required courage. And, just really showing myself compassion on that journey and taking that courage to, because I started to realize that on the other side of freedom, of fear, is freedom. And I realized that for this pain to stop, I have to go to the other side of fear. So hence the reason why I sat with myself for 1 week, no distractions. And I just said, you know what? I don't have anything to lose. I've tried everything externally and nothing is working. Let me sit with my feelings and emotion. And I really sat with it. I embraced those monsters. I sat with my emotion. I didn't judge it. I would tell you this right now. I thought I was going to literally die. I'm not going to come here and be like, "Oh, it was a walk in the park."
Yeah.
No, that's not what it was. I mean, it was like, am I going to make through? Am I going to make through overcoming this pain? But when you're courageous about something and you feel in your gut feeling like, "Hey, you know what? This is one thing I haven't tried. Let me try this and just see what comes up on the other side." And that's essentially what I did. And sitting with this feelings and emotion, I started to realize something like, oh my God, after 1 week it stopped. So I didn't even need to do all those 10 steps to stop my pain. And it was all within myself. And I was just like, you know what? There are people out there that are going through pain, physical health, that just need to hear my story of how I navigated this. And I needed to share this story with people. And I said, from writing this book, I started to realize that I have a gift for using my adversity to inspire people to realize that I'm not saying don't go to hospital. I'm not saying don't go see your doctors. I'm not. I know I took the extreme route, but it's
Mm.
possible for you to start to shift your perception on how you see the issue in your life. Once you shift your perception, the things that you're looking at has to change. So once I started to see life that way, it was easier to let go of the pain because there was no judgment anymore. I'm like, you know what? This pain is a teacher. This pain is an experience to know myself. And once I started to realize that, the pain just over time just started to let go of itself. And it just stopped. I mean, I couldn't sleep on my back for 7 to 8 years. I mean, I,
Wow.
I I'm like, oh my
I'm glad
God,
you
I didn't
I'm glad you
realize.
said that. I think
Yeah,
it would be really good because first of all, I don't know how many people come to that conclusion or come to
right,
that point to say, I haven't tried doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I got to give you props. That's unique to really reach that point. And not only to come to that point to I think it takes a lot of courage to throw away your medications and to
right,
cancel your doctor appointments. I don't know many people would have that much courage. And then to be rewarded for it by discovering the truth. And that is that
right.
so much of our pain is I'm not sure if you use the word, I don't believe I read the word psychosomatic in your book, but
Yeah,
a lot of our pain really is driven by our minds, and you're teaching so much. I mean, this is just the prelude to say,
right,
okay, this is where I was when I learned all of this that I'm going to teach
right,
you in the book. And
right.
so, but I think it would be really good if you could just take a little bit of time and give the viewers a little more idea of just how much pain you are in, because I think it will help them appreciate what you've accomplished.
Okay. That's a great perspective. So now, how I started to view this pain and how, the pain I was going through, I realized that down the line it was rage. So I was a very angry child. My mom will always say, like, "Oh no, lie, you're just an angry child. You were always angry." But because I grew up in Nigeria, expressing anger, which is a natural emotion, most people, it's frowned upon not to feel your feelings and emotion and express yourself. So what I did was I suppressed it. So you see that excruciating pain of almost 20 years. It wasn't the pain. It was the anger that I suppressed as a kid. And that anger turned into rage. I mean, rage to the world, rage. I was angry at myself, angry at my parents. But because the body keeps score of your trauma, right? Over time, as that anger kept suppressing in my body and I wasn't feeling my feelings and emotion, it had to turn into something and took a toll on my physical health. So essentially, the little thing that would have been bypassed, like if I was able to express myself as a child, that anger will not have turned into pain. But I'm very grateful because I always say this: pain is a teacher to get to know yourself. Without this pain, I wouldn't have had this book. Without this pain, I won't be here sharing my story to inspire you to go within yourself. So, that pain had to stem back to my childhood. And I always tell people, like, hey, if you really want to get to the root cause of what is going on in your life, go back to the very beginning of your story. Go back to the stories that you were told as a child. Go back to what you think the world should be as a child, because that's what I saw. I saw my parents suppressing their emotion. They didn't know any better. They did the best they could. And that's essentially what I took on from them. And for my case, that turned to trauma and that turned to pain, where it took a toll on my mental health, on my physical health,
Mhm.
and being able to transform that, essentially realizing that anger as a child not being expressed can turn into physical problems. But that's essentially like
Yeah.
what, that's where the pain started from as a kid, but
And I
suppressed.
think that it's true that we all come away from childhood with some trauma.
Yeah, I'm not saying we blame our parents, but there's this quote that really helped me on my
Yeah.
journey of forgiveness, because on my story, I was very angry with my parents. A man who blames everyone has a very long way to go on his journey. A man who blames himself is halfway there, and a man who blames no one has already arrived. That quote really helped me on
Mm.
my journey to really let go that life is life. My parents are not to blame. Society is not to blame. I'm not even to blame. Life just happened. And the moment
Yes.
I was able to see life that way, I dropped the blame game. I dropped the victimhood. So no, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not. But I'm
Yeah.
saying that I had that mindset for a while, and that held me back a lot in my life.
I'm glad I mentioned it because that's really important. In fact,
Right.
that's definitely a point you make very well in your book.
Right.
But at the same time, I guess for all of us, I don't know if there's many viewers watching this who aren't dealing with some kind of pain
Right.
or something that reoccurs that's most likely tied to anger or pent up emotion or false truths that are leading them wrong, and they like it's like your inner subconscious realizes it and your conscious is fighting your subconscious. So this is a great segue to dive into the second question that I'd like to ask you, and that is, what do you hope that people will take from reading your book?
Um, three things that I share. Actually, four. I share some really great tools. Awareness. Start to slow down, start to become aware of your immediate environment. I mean, awareness simple as you drink a Starbucks coffee, and just starts to become aware of the coffee going through your throat. That is awareness. I mean, simple stuff. Perception. Once you change the way you look at things, things will start to change how they look at you. Start to shift your perception on how you see what happens to you in life. Perception is such an important tool for you to start to navigate life seamlessly. you know um your physical being doesn't really matter. It's your emotional being that really really matters. At the end of the day, is how you respond to life, not react. Once you can start to have that perception as a tool, you will start to respond more and not you will react less. And the next one is appreciation. Start to appreciate everything in your life, good and bad. For me, for a long time, I pushed away my pain. But you know what? Now I'm thanking the pain because the pain is a teacher and it's taught me so many things about myself. I mean, start to appreciate the good and the bad, and you will see your life transform. And the very last one, feelings and emotion. Start to realize that without your feelings and emotion, you cannot exist in this body. So the moment you start to go to the core of your existence, which is your feelings and emotion, and start to feel it, I mean, sit with it. I mean, start to accept your feelings. And the more you accept it, you're able to expand more in who you really are. You're able to start to realize that life is this present moment. It's easier to navigate life from moment to moment. So, awareness, perception, appreciation, and feeling your feelings and emotion. If you can have those four tools in your life will magically transform. It's so simple.
I love that. You use the word simple and easy a
Yeah.
lot. And well, this is the point. I just grabbed your book off of my shelf over there. And this is the point where I like to share some of the things that I took from your book. And I love to get more from you on these topics. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of these and let you give me more. One quote that I really love in here is: life has no meaning until you assign an emotional value to it. That is how powerful you are.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
That's something that I always share. Life is ultimately mental. Remember how I said you cannot exist if you take away your feelings and emotion. Your physical body can't. You can't exist in this dimension, right? So I always say something, right? What is good? What is bad? So I'm speaking to you, Melanie, right now. Somebody might give you let's just say $5,000, and it's really somebody might see $5,000 as, oh my God, that's a lot of money, and a millionaire might be like, that's what I used to take Starbucks every day. Like, what's $5,000? Like, because whatever you assign as good and bad, that's what it is for you subconsciously. Some of us are not even aware that we're just moving life that way. We're not taking belief system from any like society or a parent or whoever, right?
Mm.
And we don't realize that we are operating on those subconscious belief system. Whatever you say is good or whatever you say is bad, that's what it is, whether you're aware of it or not. So that's why it's very important to start to address your subconscious belief system, to realize that what stories were told to me that I said to see that as good and that is bad. And those tools that I mentioned earlier on would help you realize that, life has no meaning because life is life until I say this is good or bad.
That is such a great example. So
Thank you.
true. Like, I mean, honestly, if someone gave me $5,000, I would be thrilled. You
Right.
know, that is the emotion that I would assign to that experience.
Yes. Yes.
And yes, if I were a multimillionaire, 5,000 would probably be like, pocket change.
Yeah.
That is such a good example, and I think that really does a lot to show how our emotions drive our reactions, which drive our stress levels,
Right.
which drive our pain. I want to read another quote from your book. It's just another page over from that, and it says, "What really shifted for me after giving myself the experience of feeling my pain was that there is nothing in my life that I cannot actually handle. By allowing myself to fully experience it, I maxed out the pain."
Mm.
Maxed out the pain. That is something right there.
Yes. So, hmm, mindset is everything. I will repeat that. Your mindset is everything. So if you're listening to this and you're currently going through something that you feel like is insurmountable, I want you to try this exercise. This is something that has truly helped me overcome the greatest adversities in my life. I go into my mind, and it's called reverse visualization. And I mean, I go into my mind and I envision the worst case scenario. Once I do that, I mean, I really accept that idea of the worst case scenario in my mind. I let it go. I mean, I start to be okay with every outcome. And the moment I'm okay with the worst, the middle, the good, it's easier for me to flow. And the possibility of the worst case scenario happening reduces. I don't know that, because most of us, what we do is we only lean into the positive, right? The good things of life. But you can't have up without down. You can't have the sun without the moon. So it really baffles me when people only say focus only on the positive things of life. Because once you do that, you're creating a separation, you're creating an illusion for yourself. So what has really helped me is when I have an adversity in my life, I mean, I go back to my mind and I visualize it. I mean, I really sit with it. It can't be, it sounds fearful to the mind, but the more you sit with it and accept the worst case scenario, your mind is easier for your mind to navigate that path. It's easier for your mind to navigate that so-called adversity. Because the reason why we suffer as human beings is because most of us, we push away the worst case scenario mentally. So when it actually happens in our 3D reality, there's a lot of resistance, there's a lot of suffering. So that's what I meant by that. Really accepting the worst case scenario in your mind. I'm having peace with it. So it's easier to navigate.
What you just said there, I don't know if I've ever heard a motivational coach type person, author say before. Because it's true, we're always like focus on the positive, and and what you put out is what you attract, and that's the kind of the philosophy I think that most people are putting out there. But I get it. I get what you're saying, and you proved it because you did it. You just sat
Right.
with your pain till it maxed out, and your body just kind of went pop and let it go. And
Right.
that makes so much sense to me. I think the trick is probably to do, like you said, just take it all the way through, think it through, and then you can say, well, what's the worst that could happen? Well, how would I handle it? Okay, I'd do that, or I'd do that. So that suddenly the worst isn't the worst. And
Right.
you're taking away its fear factor, which we're
Yes.
going to get to. I actually have that highlighted in my book. That's so good. Okay, I want to read another little line here. And I think this is really this kicks off, I think, a big theme in your book is the idea that we're here to have fun.
Yes.
And it says, I genuinely do not now know how this human game works. But one thing I am sure of is that once I shifted my perspective, that this beautiful journey of life is all a game. I began to play the game with an open mind and simply just having fun. I know now that I chose to experience different parts of myself through my interaction with the world. Ugh, every line in this is just gold. I mean, it could be mantra after mantra. I started to flow more into things and become like water, taking shape to whatever challenges I created in my reality.
Yeah.
Ah, what a way to look at life. Just it's a
Yes.
game. You're here to
It's a
experience
game.
all of it.
Yeah,
We
it's a
take
game.
life so seriously.
So, this is something that, this is I actually have a second book which I'm about to release. I'll just put it out there. It's titled "Who the Fuck Am I? How to Play the Human Game."
Mm.
And there's something that I share in that book. I didn't share in this one, but I will share it here right now. And I this exercise that I make the readers do. I say, close your eyes, and I want you to imagine a game where you hide different parts of yourself in different parts of the game, right?
Mm.
Right, right. And
Mhm.
those different things are maybe like pain, you going broke, somebody broke your heart. But you see, the logical brain is like, that's a bad thing. But if you lean into that and really accept that part of yourself, right? Because it's a game, different parts of you are scattered everywhere. The more you lean into that part of yourself, that's the juice of life. And the more you accept that, you're expanding awareness. Now you can see more of the whole game. But if you don't, it's like you're gonna keep seeing life through a keyhole, and you're gonna keep reacting. But the more you just, it's a game. Let's have fun. I'm not gonna take myself seriously. Whatever life throws at me, what is this thing teaching me about myself? It's not that person, it's you. And once you can go inwards and look at yourself, that's juice. And the more you do that, even if it repeats itself again, that I've seen this before. You that don't do anything, you don't respond because you've seen it before. Because if you respond again, emotional attachment, right? You repeat the same cycle. So once
So
you can
that's how
start to
you beat the
shift your,
game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Once
That's
and
the
once
that's
you
the
don't
key.
you don't respond to that stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
It falls away from your reality. You move on to the next level. So once you
Ah,
can start to approach life that way, you begin to expand. You begin to expand your awareness, intuition, right? There's something always communicating with you. And you will know when something is bullshit, and you know when something aligns with you.
mm,
It's not, no one is special, right? No one has a higher level of intuition. You just have to slow down. And once you
mhm,
slow down, you can see through the veil of the game itself. But that's essentially what I try to paint to the readers, that once you shift your perception and see life as a game, one, you tap into your childlike version, because that childlike version of you doesn't have any resistance. Like, oh, I love life. Life is fun.
yeah, children
And once
children
you're
take
like
life.
childlike and just really open to the whole experience, it's easier. Whatever life throws at you is like, woo, okay, let's have
I
fun.
got
That's where the
this. Yeah.
fun is.
I mean, look at how many people love to play video games.
Right.
And the tension in those games, and there's definitely something to a challenge that we love.
Yes.
When we turn
Yes.
our life's challenges into a game, we can enjoy it more. I love it. And what you just said is kind of a line here in your book. I'll read it. And then it
Right.
said, talking about the game, you say, you can never win or lose this game. So slow your roll, relax, be here in the present moment, and have fun.
And have
Dance to the
fun.
flow of all the things happening in your reality by feeling your feelings, which is a permission. Sometimes we just need a permission slip, don't we? Gosh, thank you
Yes.
for my permission slip. I'm gonna hang on to that. Taking intuitive action and allowing whatever will be to be. Ultimately, and I gotta tell you, I don't know if you can see it. I underlined it and I wrote a little arrow and I wrote key. So this is a key point. Ultimately, you have never been in control of anything outside of yourself. And
Right.
boy, we
Right.
try to control things.
Right. I will add this to the game thing, right? For anyone listening to me, I want you to imagine yourself playing a PS4. So if you're playing your favorite game on a PS4, right? The intention is, I want to have fun. I'm not going to take myself seriously, right? But most of us feel like we are the characters in the game, as opposed to you're holding the controller playing the game. Once you can start to shift your perception on how you view yourself in this game, you start to realize that you're not the character. You're simply watching yourself. And that's where, slowing down, meditation comes into play. And it's easier for you to start to live life and start to see that life is fun. Because, like I said, your physical reality might not necessarily change. But once your state of being shifts, I'm like, okay, I'm having fun, and you tell your subconscious mind that, okay, we are having fun, it's easier for whatever life throws at you. It's like, okay, it's fun. It's fun.
What a
Feel,
great way. And I love your talk about
feel.
perspective. because that's my next quote that I pulled out of your books is
Uh,
related to that topic. It says, with every passing day, my awareness and perception expanded so much that I stopped seeing my partner and other people as imperfect. I started appreciating myself. I suddenly started to see the inherent value in every single person, no matter what they did.
mm,
Wow.
yes.
That is the ultimate achievement, I believe, when we can get to the point where we just forgive everyone, have understanding, recognize we're all in this game. We're all trying to figure it out. We're different levels of skill,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I will say this, right? Life is a mirror. So Melanie, yes, I'm speaking to Melanie. Melanie's speaking to the amazing, right? But if you peel back the layers and the personality of Melanie, the character, at the core of everything, we're still the same. Like it's the same thing. And I like to call
mhm.
that thing unconditional love. You can't mess it up. There's no right or wrong. It just is. And the moment, this is what something that really helped me. Um, my reaction to you is an awareness of me. If you do something to me and I react to you, I mean I react and I don't respond, that's my cue to sit with myself. So, as society, let's just say, let's take like prisoners, people who are in the prison, right? The logical mind is, I'm judging them. How can they do that?
Yeah.
But subconsciously, if you do that, you're judging yourself, because if you start to realize that life is a mirror, right? And just start to see those people, that if you go behind those layers of what they did that is
Mhm.
wrong, it's the same stuff. And the moment you can, start to, perceive life that way, and start to see everyone as ultimately you, it's easier for us to love one another, be open. Like, you know what? I love you. I don't care what your belief system is. I don't care if
Yeah.
you smoke weed. I don't care. I love you because you exist. Can we all
That
get together and love? It's
that
just
right there
easier.
is the answer to all our problems. All of them. And I
Yeah.
believe it's what God is. God is the ultimate love. And
Love.
and the more we learn how to be like him, the more heaven is on earth. And so I really think you're not religious at all, or but it is definitely a spiritual teaching
Right.
that you have here. Um, and yeah, I love that example too, because I work with prisoners. I've gone in and brought them narrative therapy to help them process their traumas and gotten to know them. And I tell you something, when you get to know people, and they stop being this role, this character in your game that you identify as either bad or good, like you said. But when you get to know somebody, you love them. And I worked
Right.
with rapists and murderers. I
Yeah.
mean, most of the people I worked with, I was in maximum security prison. And I just came to love them, and I care about them, and I care about the inhumanity that they face. And the truth is, and this is a little off topic because I'll get back, but the truth is, our prisons are just a reflection of our society. And the things that
Boom.
they're doing are just the things that we're doing as a society. And
Boom.
so,
There you go. Yeah. That
yeah.
that's that that's the truth that most of us don't want to accept.
Yeah, it is. It's really true. All right. So next topic, again, just such great stuff. I have a number of things highlighted on this page. This is the chapter about love and fear. And so
Mm.
you say love and fear are simply two sides of the same coin. Every thought stems from two emotions, love and fear. I'm going to jump down to this other paragraph and I'm going to let you talk because I have it underlined, I've highlighted, underlined, and started. So it's a good one because my opinion matters. To truly transcend fear in your reality, start becoming aware of the fear itself and see it for what it truly is. And you said this at the beginning of our interview here. You said, a beautiful teacher wanting you to experience some part of yourself. The more you push it away, you create more resistance. So you did start out by saying that, but that's where you teach it here in the book. And I just like,
Yeah.
wow, when you push
Yeah.
it away, you create resistance. We can actually remove. I'm a personal trainer, I'm a fitness instructor, and when I talk to people, I'm like, oh, we need resistance for muscle. You know what I mean? And so resistance is a good thing, but the truth is we don't have to have this is okay. This goes back to that first part where I said what you're saying is not what everybody else is saying, right? We're all saying, be positive, look at the positive. You need the resistance, make it positive in that way. But I love your perspective is just to say, hey, we don't have to live with so much resistance. Life can be simple and life can be fun. And I got to tell you, that is not a message that I've been bringing to the people I work with. Not like you do. I look at, well, resistance has a purpose, and you're saying, let it go.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. And I will say this, fear, fear is such a beautiful emotion. I would love to shift your perspective on fear. Fear is feel everything and relax. I'll say that again. Feel everything and relax. The more you feel it and relax into that emotion, it's easier for you to let your mind to let go of that fear. Now, what I meant by that part you just read of the book was most of us, what we do is with our emotions, it's like sweeping dirt under a carpet. The more dirt you sweep under that carpet, at some point, you're gonna trip on your own shit. And that's what most of us don't realize. And that's what happened to me for 20 years of, sweeping that pain under the rug. I kept, I kept pushing it away. I kept saying, what, I don't want to deal with this. And the more I did that, at some point in my life, I tripped on my own stuff. And that's what I tell people, like, you don't want to get to that point where it's so humongous and you're tripping on your own stuff. So how about once you realize that there's fear, ask yourself, where is this coming from? Sit with it. Sit with it. And it doesn't have to be so overwhelming. Just take deep intentional breath. So this is what I did. This was my process. I'll just shorten it here right now. Mine was lower excruciating back, right? So I took deep intentional breath in through my nose, out through my mouth, and I focused my attention on my lower back. While that was happening, I told my mind, feel everything and relax. Now, I was doing those things simultaneously. While I was doing those things simultaneously, my logical mind wanted to run away from the pain, and that's okay. But I gave myself grace and compassion to go back and sit with it. I It took me a while to sit with it for a long time, but I started with 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. There's no, you can't mess this thing up. But the more you sit with your feelings and emotion, that fear has to let go of its hold in your life. It doesn't have a choice. Remember how she said in the book, life has no meaning until you assign an emotional value to it. And the less emotional attachment you have to things outside of you, it's easier to let it go. It's easier to let go. It's easier to let go. And that fear transcends into something more beautiful. But that's essentially what I meant by that part of the book. Just really sitting with ourselves. It doesn't have to take a week like I did. Everyone's journey is different. Give yourself compassion, kindness. No one has it all figured out. I don't. Like I said, I don't know. I'm just navigating life in the moment, but realizing that you have to give yourself permission slip to be kind, to be compassionate to yourself. You have that power to do so.
I feel like you got a lot more handle on life than most of us, and you're so young. It's amazing. What are you going to be like 20, 30 years from now? I just can't even imagine. You might just be like leaving this planet. You're so evolved. It's amazing. Well, I do have one more little piece. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this because I have two more questions for you. So, but I really love this. So I just want to touch on this topic with you really quick as well. And that is, what if I told you just the way you are in this present moment is perfection and there is nothing to change in your current experience?
Yes.
I don't know if many people feel that way about their lives. So
Yes.
that is quite a thought for
Yeah.
sure.
What if I told you there's nothing to fix? What if I told you you're not broken? What if
Wow.
I told you you're whole? What if I told you you have everything you need in this life to to succeed? There will never be a perfect time. If you're waiting for the perfect time, here, let me share this quote with you. Marcus Aurelius. We all have two lives. And the second one starts when you realize you only have one. You have just one life and you're waiting for the perfect time to live your life. It will never happen. So, this is your reminder. There is nothing to fix in your life. You're not broken. There is nothing, you're ultimately not powerless, right? You're not, you're whole just the way you are. The only thing you need to do is shift your perception on how you see things. Your physical reality will not change until your mindset changes. I don't care who you go to. I don't care what coach you go to. Your mindset has to change first. And once you change how you look at things in your life, those things have to change because that's how powerful your mind is. And
Yeah.
you have all the answers within yourself, but you have to slow down and realize that there's nothing to fix in your life. It's just your mindset that has to shift. That's it. And once your mindset shifts, like, oh, I see it now.
That's a big one. That's a big one because I think we're always trying to figure out what's wrong with me. What do I need to fix? That, I think
So
that's probably the looping thought that most of us have that you're helping to
I
break.
will
Is just,
add this to it, right? How how
yeah,
how do you fix how do you fix something that is not broken? How do you fix a character in a game? Remember how we talked about it's a game. How do you can't do it?
yeah.
It's an illusion. You can't fix. How can you fix a character in a game? Like you keep
You
running in
you
circles.
can earn more equipment, I guess, and higher levels of ammunition, or I think you can improve, but you
You
don't
can
you don't fix, but you do improve. I would
you
say,
can improve and level
yeah,
up, but to say you're going to fix something that's it's not possible. It's like trying to understand this universe with our 5 pound brain. Good
yeah.
luck with that. Good luck trying to understand life
You're
with your
right,
5 pound
but we
brain.
think we think we can do it, and we keep trying. All
I
right,
don't know
let's
now.
move to the next question,
Okay.
because I love it. I love your so this one is just, how did you come up with the title and cover of your book? And I know you have a good story around that as well.
How did I come up with the title? That's a great question. So, like many of us, I love to read. So for 3 years, I mean, I dedicated my life to reading things on spirituality, science. I just wanted to understand the mind, the brain. I mean, I had over 100 books on science and spirituality. Talk about it. I mean, I really went through that rabbit hole. But right leading up to writing this book, one night I was woken up around 3 a.m., and I was just sitting with myself and I got this intuitive guide. I want you to trash all those books, put those books in the trash. You don't know anything. I mean, I cried. I mean, I really don't know shit. I mean, it really humbled me because I was trying to gain more information. See, the highest form of intelligence is unlearning. I had to unlearn everything that I think I know about my life. And once I started to come to that realization that night, the title came. The truth is, I do not know. I don't know. And once I started to realize that, I was like, okay, this is going to be the name of the book. And the cover actually got inspired by, I didn't know what to put on the cover. I knew I wanted to make it very playful. I was on Canva looking at different like inspirations, and I saw this image of, like a stone thing sitting by the side, and it just really caught my attention. And I gave that image to this beautiful graphic designer in Peru, and I told her to make it fun. And we came together and we kind of, I'm very big on like petals and stuff. And we had this petal thing and we wanted it very colorful. I love butterflies too. And I told her to have some character on the face, put like eyes on there and a smile. That's essentially me, just really sitting there. I'm like, hey, I don't know. And I'm okay not knowing. That's essentially how the cover came and the title came.
It's a very provocative title, honestly, to say the truth is I do not know. And I love the it's coming from that experience you had where
Right.
basically you got this communication that said, toss it all out. You don't know. Well, you know now. I would say you know now, but you know, because I am your mentee now. So I'm going to say that I believe you know something that I want to learn, and you are amazing. But yeah, it's such a great cover. Love the colors.
Thank you so much.
Um, I just love it. I got it put back here on my shelf now. So
Thank
very
you.
beautiful. It's like art on my shelf.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So next question, and that is, what advice do you have for aspiring authors?
Mm. Everyone has a story. Everyone is an author, whether you embrace it or not. And if you feel like you want to be an author, do it. Don't overthink it. I self-published on Amazon. I did not know jack shit about publishing. I mean, I just Googled stuff. I went on TikTok, looked for videos. Okay, how do I get my ISBN? And another thing is, I was okay to look stupid. I was fine to look stupid. I was fine to make mistakes. I didn't overthink it. I just did it. And honestly, because I'm very big on following your intuition and your gut feeling. People on my journey, people that were were designed to help me, show me the next thing to do, came into my life. So I started to hear about Amazon KDP, right? I didn't know anything about it. Someone just told me, hey, do you know you can self-publish on Amazon KDP? And I just did it. Grabbed my computer. It was
Mm-hmm.
stressful because I was overthinking. How do I do traditional? I was like, no, 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 no. And that's how I published my book. I did my audiobook myself, went to a studio, recorded it with my voice, paid
Wow.
someone to professionally, like, I did it. I just took one step at a time and did it. So if you're an aspiring author, you have a story that the world is dying to hear. Just do it. Be okay with the mistakes, because guess what? This is the first book out of many books. So it's okay.
Yeah, I love that. We just need to give ourselves that permission slip. If we
Right.
can't give it to ourselves, we're going to read your book and pull out all the permission slips that are tucked
Yeah.
away and just be happy and have fun.
Have
I love
fun.
that you use the word fun a lot. And it's true. I mean, why not enjoy this life? For all we know, we've just got this one, and we have the gifts that the universe has given us so we can grow.
Right.
And I love that. I love that
Yeah.
so much. So I will be putting your website in the pinned comments
Okay.
of this interview, and so I'm going to invite everybody to go. Do you want to just speak your web address?
Oh yes, so it's www.theamazingsoul.com. On there, if you want to get the book, the Amazon link is on there. And if you want to work with me one on one, you can just go on there to book a session with me, and we can just kind of take it from there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know I'm going to be looking at that. It's funny.
Yeah.
People don't know off camera before we got started. I was like, I'm a perfectionist because I'm fixing everything in my studio. And you're like, yeah,
Right.
yeah, it gets in the way sometimes for sure. So, for all those who are watching, if you have any comments to make about what
Mhm.
you've learned, or if you've had an epiphany, please share it. It's really fun to interact with you and to see what you have
Right.
to say. And I'm sure Amazing will keep her eye on the comments
Oh yeah.
and come and interact with you there as well. I think that would be super. And
Yes.
if you haven't already, please give this a like, a thumbs up. It helps other people know about it. It just
Right.
drives the algorithm. And of course, I hope that you're a subscriber. If not, please become one. Amazing. This has been a truly remarkable conversation. I knew it would be just reading your book. I've been so excited to share all the insights that you have there. And so thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Melanie. I truly appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.